Finding an affordable apartment in San Francisco is like winning the lottery, except the lottery actively hates you and wants you to be poor. I'd been searching for 3 months, watching my savings dwindle as I crashed on my friend's couch when I finally found a listing that seemed too good to be true. A bedroom in a two-bedroom apartment in the Mission District for $1,200 a month. In San Francisco, that was practically free. The catch, of course, was the roommate situation. The ad was vague: clean, respectful roommate wanted, LGBTQ plus friendly, must be okay with occasional noise from my music practice. I called the number immediately. Hello, the voice on the other end was deep, warm, with a slight rasp like he'd just woken up. Hi, I'm calling about the room for rent. Oh great, yeah, I'm Finn, when can you come look at the place? We arranged a viewing for that afternoon. I showed up at the address, a converted Victorian with a bright blue door, and knocked. When the door opened, I had to consciously keep my jaw from dropping. Finn was maybe 6 feet tall, with shoulder-length dark hair pulled into a messy bun, tattoos covering both arms, and these warm brown eyes that crinkled when he smiled. He was wearing a faded band t-shirt and ripped jeans, and he looked like he'd stepped out of an indie rock album cover. You must be Marcus, he said, extending his hand. Come on in. The apartment was perfect. Hardwood floors, high ceilings, large windows letting in tons of natural light. My room would be decent-sized with a closet. The common areas were lived in but clean, with musical equipment in one corner, a keyboard, 2 guitars, a small recording setup. I'm a session musician, Finn explained when he saw me looking. I play for different artists, do some recording work. Sometimes I practice late at night, but I can use headphones if it's a problem. It's not a problem, I'm a pretty heavy sleeper. What do you do? I'm a software engineer. I work from home mostly, so I'd be around during the day. Perfect, I'm usually out during the day for sessions, so we'd probably not be in each other's way much. Finn leaned against the kitchen counter. Look, I'll be straight with you, no pun intended. I've had some nightmare roommates, people who don't clean up after themselves, who throw loud parties, who bring home sketchy people. I'm just looking for someone chill who pays rent on time and treats this place with respect. I can definitely do that. Cool, one more question. The ad said LGBTQ plus friendly. Are you gay? Yeah, is that a problem? Not at all, I just want to make sure you're comfortable. I'm straight, but I've got a lot of queer friends and I want this to be a safe space. I signed the lease that day. Moving in with Finn was surprisingly easy. He helped me carry boxes up the stairs, offered me his truck to pick up furniture, and gave me space to settle in. The first week, we established a rhythm. Finn would wake up around 10 a.m., make coffee for both of us. He just started doing it without asking, which I appreciated, and head out for his music work. I'd work from home, taking calls in my room, coding in the living room when I needed a change of scenery. Evenings, we'd often end up cooking together, not intentionally at first, but because we'd both be in the kitchen at the same time and it seemed silly not to coordinate. Finn was surprisingly good at cooking, throwing together meals with whatever was in the fridge. My mom insisted I learn, he explained one night as he expertly diced vegetables. She said she wasn't raising a man who'd live on takeout. My mom said the same thing. I ignored her advice. Finn laughed. Well, you're welcome to benefit from my mom's wisdom, just help with dishes. We fell into an easy friendship. Finn would tell me about his music sessions, the difficult artists, the amazing collaborations, the weird requests. I'd vent about my coding projects, the bugs I couldn't solve, my frustrating coworkers. Your job sounds stressful, Finn observed one Friday night as we ate pizza and watched a movie. It is, but it pays well, so I can't complain too much. You should do something creative, balance out all that logic and structure. I'm not creative. Everyone's creative, you just haven't found your medium yet. It was the kind of conversation that felt deeper than it should, the kind that made me realize I was becoming genuinely close to this person. Which became a problem when I started noticing other things about Finn. It started innocently enough. Finn had a habit of walking around shirtless in the morning, especially when it was warm. He'd make coffee in just his pajama pants, completely unself-conscious, and I'd try very hard to focus on my laptop screen and not on the way his muscles moved or the tattoos that covered his chest and ribs. Then there was the bathroom situation. Our apartment only had one bathroom, which meant we shared everything. Finn was good about knocking and respecting privacy, but there were inevitable moments. Him coming out of the shower with just a towel around his waist, me accidentally walking in when he was shaving. I learned to knock more thoroughly after that. The worst part was that Finn was genuinely nice. It wasn't just that he was attractive, which he very much was, it was that he was kind, funny, thoughtful. He'd bring me coffee when I was working late. He'd text me to ask if I needed anything when he was at the store. He'd leave little notes around the apartment with terrible jokes that always made me laugh. I tried to keep my feelings in check. Finn was straight. Finn was my roommate. This was a living situation, not a romance novel. I needed to be professional, respectful, and definitely not creepy. But then the sleeping situation became an issue. Finn, I discovered, was a restless sleeper, and apparently he slept with his door open because he liked the air circulation, and he didn't believe in pajamas. I first noticed this about a month into living together. I'd gotten up around 2 a.m. to get water, and on my way back to my room, I'd glanced toward his open door. There was Finn, sprawled across his bed, completely uncovered, wearing absolutely nothing. I immediately looked away and hurried back to my room, my face burning. The next morning, I debated whether to say something. But how do you have that conversation? "Hey roommate, I accidentally saw you naked last night, could you maybe close your door or wear clothes?" I decided to let it go. It was one incident, it wouldn't happen again. It happened again and again and again. Finn apparently always slept that way, door open, no clothes, covers kicked off by morning. And my insomnia meant I was frequently up at night getting water or a snack, and I'd inevitably catch a glimpse. I tried different strategies. I'd keep my eyes straight ahead when I walked past his room. I'd make noise so he'd know I was up and maybe cover himself. I'd time my water runs for when I thought he'd be more covered. Nothing worked, and the worst part was that I couldn't tell if Finn knew and didn't care or if he was genuinely oblivious. "You've been weird lately," Finn said one Saturday morning as we made breakfast. "What? No, I haven't." "You have, you won't make eye contact, you leave a room when I enter. Did I do something?" "No, you didn't do anything." "Then what's going on?" I couldn't tell him the truth, so I said, "Just work stress, sorry if I've been off." Finn studied me for a moment, clearly not buying it, but he let it drop. "Okay, but if something's bothering you, you can tell me. We're friends, right?" "Right, we're friends." And that was the problem. We were friends, good friends, friends who couldn't be anything more because of every possible barrier: his sexuality, our living situation, the fundamental imbalance of me having feelings he didn't share. I needed to get over this, fast. Getting over my feelings for Finn turned out to be impossible when he decided to start dating someone. Her name was Ashley. She was a yoga instructor with perfect blonde hair and the kind of effortless beauty that made me want to crawl into a hole. Finn met her at a coffee shop and was immediately smitten. "She's amazing," he gushed after their first date. "She's smart and funny, and she's really into music." We talked for 3 hours straight. "That's great," I said, trying to sound enthusiastic. "I'm happy for you." And I was happy for him. I was also miserable for myself. Ashley started coming over regularly. She was actually nice, which made it worse. She'd chat with me about my work, bring over baked goods, compliment the apartment. I wanted to hate her, but I couldn't. The worst part was hearing them together. Our walls weren't paper thin, but they weren't soundproof either. I'd lie in my room, headphones on, music turned up, trying not to think about Finn with someone else. This went on for 2 months. Finn and Ashley seemed perfect together. I started making plans to move out, not immediately, but maybe when the lease was up. I couldn't keep living like this, torturing myself every day. Then one Friday night, everything changed. I came home late from a work happy hour to find Finn sitting on the couch alone, a beer in his hand, looking miserable. "Hey," I said cautiously, "where's Ashley?" "We broke up." "What, why?" Finn took a long drink of his beer. "She said I was emotionally unavailable, that I was holding back, that she could tell I had feelings for someone else." My stomach dropped. "Do you have feelings for someone else?" "I don't know." He set down his beer and looked at me directly. "Marcus, can I ask you something?" "Sure." "Have I been making you uncomfortable?" The question caught me off guard. "What do you mean?" The way I've been acting, walking around shirtless, leaving my door open at night. Ashley pointed it out. She said it seemed like I don't know, trying to get your attention or something. She said it was weird that I did that stuff when you were home but not when you weren't. I felt my face heating up. I don't know what you mean. Yes, you do. Finn stood up and walked closer. You've been avoiding me for weeks. You can barely look at me. Either I've been making you uncomfortable and I need to apologize and fix it, or, he trailed off. Or what? Or Ashley was right and I've been doing it on purpose without admitting it to myself. My heart was pounding. Finn, you're straight. Am I? He laughed, but it wasn't a happy sound. I've been asking myself that question a lot lately. I've dated women my whole life. I've never been with a guy, but I've also never felt about anyone the way I feel about you. How do you feel about me? Honestly, I don't know. Confused, scared, excited, all of it. Finn ran his hand through his hair. Living with you has been the best part of my day every day. I look forward to coming home because you're here. I make up excuses to hang out in the living room when you're working. I started leaving my door open because I knew you'd see me and some part of me wanted you to. Finn. Let me finish. I know this is crazy. I know I'm probably ruining our friendship and our living situation, but Ashley was right. I do have feelings for someone else, and that someone is you. I didn't know what to say. This couldn't be real. This had to be some kind of dream or joke or misunderstanding. Say something, Finn pleaded. Tell me I'm not completely insane. You're not insane, I managed. But Finn, you're not gay. You might be confused or... I'm not confused about how I feel about you. I'm only confused about what that means for my sexuality. And honestly, I don't care about the label. I care about you. This is a terrible idea, I said, even as my heart screamed at me to shut up. We're roommates. If this doesn't work out, we're stuck living together. So we'll figure it out. We're both adults. You've never been with a guy before. What if you try it and you hate it? What if I try it and I don't? Finn took another step closer. We were now just a few feet apart. Marcus, I can't promise this will work out. I can't promise I know what I'm doing, but I can promise that I want to try if you want to. I've wanted to since the day I moved in, I admitted. But I didn't say anything because you're straight and my roommate, and it seemed like the worst possible situation to develop feelings. So we're both idiots who have been pinning for each other while living in the same apartment. Apparently. Finn smiled, that warm, genuine smile that had made me fall for him in the first place. Can I kiss you? Are you sure? I've never been more sure of anything. I closed the distance between us and kissed him. It was tentative at first, both of us nervous and uncertain. Then Finn's hand came up to cup the back of my head, pulling me closer, and the kiss deepened. When we finally broke apart, we were both breathing hard. Wow, Finn said. Yeah. That was really good. You sound surprised. I guess I am. I've thought about this, but actually doing it, he smiled again. Can we do it again? We did it again, and eventually we made it to his bedroom. The door finally closed and discovered that sometimes the best things happen when you stop fighting what you want. I woke up in Finn's bed, sunlight streaming through the window, with Finn's arm draped across my chest. For a moment, I panicked. What had we done? We'd crossed a line that we couldn't uncross. We still had to live together for the next 10 months. What if this was a mistake? What if Finn regretted it? Stop overthinking, Finn mumbled, not opening his eyes. I can literally feel you freaking out. I'm not freaking out. Liar, he opened one eye. Morning. Regrets. I thought about it honestly. No, you. Definitely not, although I should probably warn you that I'm useless in the morning until I've had coffee. I've lived with you for 3 months, I'm aware. Finn propped himself up on one elbow, looking at me with an expression I couldn't quite read. So what happens now? I guess we figure it out as we go. That works for me. He leaned down and kissed me, soft and sweet. For the record, I'm really glad we did this. Even though it complicates everything. Especially because of that. We got up and made breakfast together, falling into our usual routine, except now Finn would occasionally kiss me while I was cooking or pull me close while we waited for the coffee to brew. It felt natural, like this was how it should have been all along. I should probably tell you something, Finn said as we ate. I have no idea what I'm doing, like relationship-wise I'm usually not great at commitment, and sexuality-wise I'm completely new to this. I'm not expecting you to have everything figured out. But what if I mess up, what if I hurt you? Then we'll deal with it, Finn. I'm not going into this with unrealistic expectations. I know this is new for you. I know it's complicated because we live together. But I also know I care about you and I think you care about me, and that's enough to start with. I do care about you a lot. Then we'll figure out the rest. Dating your roommate while they're also figuring out their sexuality is an interesting experience. The first few weeks were a mix of excitement and awkwardness. Finn was enthusiastic but inexperienced. He'd ask questions about things I'd taken for granted. He'd apologize unnecessarily when he felt like he was doing something wrong. He'd overthink everything. Is this okay? He'd ask while we were kissing. Yes. What about this? Also okay. Am I doing this right? Finn, there's no right way, just do what feels natural. What if what feels natural is weird? Then it's weird, that's fine. Slowly, he relaxed. We found our rhythm. Finn was actually a fast learner, and once he stopped overthinking everything, he was confident and attentive. But there were challenges beyond the physical. Like when Finn's bandmate made a homophobic joke and Finn didn't know how to respond. He'd laughed awkwardly, then come home and asked me if he should have said something. Yes, I told him, you should have said something. I know, I just froze. I've never had to think about that stuff before. Well, you have to think about it now. If we're together, you can't let people make jokes like that. You're right, I'll do better. And he did. The next time someone made a comment, Finn shut it down immediately. He started being more conscious of the casual homophobia in his industry, in his friend groups, in the world around him. I never realized how much of this stuff happens, he said one night. It's everywhere. Welcome to my world. I'm sorry you have to deal with this. I'm sorry you have to deal with it now too, but I appreciate that you're willing to. We also had to navigate the question of labels and coming out. What are we? Finn asked about a month into our relationship. Are we boyfriends, partners, what? What do you want to be? I want to be with you, I just don't know what to call it. Then don't call it anything yet, we don't need to label everything immediately. But eventually, labels became necessary. Finn's friends started asking questions. His family noticed he wasn't dating Ashley anymore. His mom kept asking if he was seeing anyone. I want to tell people about you, Finn said one evening, but I don't know how. Hey mom, I'm dating my male roommate and I might be bi or gay or something. That's not going to go well. You don't have to tell them anything you're not ready to share. But I want to, you're important to me, I don't want to hide you. Finn ended up telling his mom first. She was surprised but supportive, asking lots of questions but ultimately just wanting him to be happy. His dad took it less well, needing time to process, but eventually came around. His friends were a mixed bag. Some were immediately supportive, others were awkward or distant, a few dropped him entirely. I didn't expect to lose friends over this, Finn admitted after one particularly painful conversation with an old friend who'd basically said their friendship was over. I'm sorry. It's not your fault, it's his for being a bigot. Finn pulled me close. You know what though, it's worth it, you're worth it. 6 months into our relationship, things had settled into a new normal. Finn had come out publicly as queer. He'd settled on that label, saying it felt right without being too specific. I'd gotten used to being in a relationship with someone who was still figuring things out. We'd navigated the roommate-to-partner transition with surprising grace. You know what's weird? Finn said one Saturday morning as we lay in bed. Living with you is exactly the same and completely different. What do you mean? We still have the same routines, we still cook together and watch movies and hang out, but now I get to kiss you whenever I want, and wake up next to you and call you my boyfriend. You could have done that before. No, I couldn't. Before I was lying to myself about what I wanted, now I'm not. We'd had our share of challenges, arguments about household chores. Finn was terrible about doing dishes, disagreements about how much time to spend together versus apart. The occasional fight where we'd both say things we didn't mean. But we'd also had so many good moments. Lazy Sunday mornings, late-night conversations about everything and nothing, inside jokes and shared meals and comfortable silences. "I'm happier than I've been in years," Finn told me one evening. "Really?" "Really, before you I was just going through the motions, dating people I wasn't really into, avoiding anything serious. I thought that was just how I was, someone who couldn't do commitment, but it turns out I was just waiting for the right person." That's very romantic for someone who claims to be bad at relationships. "You bring out my romantic side," he kissed me, among other things. "Such as?" "My domestic side. I cook more now, clean more, actually care about making our apartment a home rather than just a place I sleep." "Our apartment, I like the sound of that." "Me too." "The biggest change came when our lease was up for renewal. We could have gotten a new place, something bigger or in a different neighborhood. Instead, we renewed, committing to another year together." "You sure about this?" I asked Finn as we signed the paperwork. "Another year with me." "I'm hoping for a lot more than another year," Finn said, "but we can start there." A year into our relationship, Finn got offered an incredible opportunity, a chance to go on tour with a major artist as their lead guitarist. It was a 6-month commitment, traveling around the country, playing in huge venues. "It's my dream job," Finn said when he told me about it, "but it would mean leaving you for 6 months." "You should do it." "I don't want to leave you." "I don't want you to leave either, but Finn, this is your career, you can't pass this up." We talked about it for hours, weighing the pros and cons. Eventually, Finn accepted the position. The 6 months apart were hard. We video chatted every day, sent each other messages constantly, counted down the days until he'd be home. But the distance also proved something important. What we had was real and strong enough to survive separation. When Finn came back, he moved back into our apartment like he'd never left. Except now he had stories from the road, new experiences, a broader perspective. "I missed you every single day," he said our first night back together. "Every city, every show, all I could think about was coming home to you." "I missed you too. The apartment felt empty without you. So let's make sure we're never apart that long again." "Deal." 2 years into our relationship, Finn proposed. It wasn't fancy, just the two of us in our apartment, cooking dinner like we'd done 1,000 times before. He'd put the ring in my pocket while I wasn't paying attention, then asked me to grab something for him. "Is this yours?" I asked, pulling out the small box. "Open it." Inside was a simple silver band. I looked up at Finn, who was now on one knee. "Marcus, when you moved in 2 years ago, I thought I was just getting a roommate. Turns out I was getting the love of my life. You've made me happier, braver, and more honest than I've ever been. You've helped me figure out who I am and who I want to be. I don't want to spend another day not being officially, permanently yours. Will you marry me?" "Yes," I said, tears streaming down my face. "Yes, absolutely yes." He slipped the ring on my finger and we kissed in our tiny kitchen, surrounded by half-cooked dinner and dirty dishes, and it was perfect. 5 years later. 5 years after that first awkward Craigslist meeting, Finn and I are married, still living in the same apartment, though we've renovated it significantly, still cooking together most nights, still the best of friends and partners. People ask me sometimes if it's hard being married to your roommate, if we ever get sick of each other living and working in the same space. The truth is no, because Finn isn't just my husband or my roommate, he's my favorite person. The one I want to share every moment with, good and bad, the person who makes even mundane tasks feel like adventures. "Remember when you first moved in?" Finn asks me one evening as we're making dinner. "You were so nervous, trying so hard to be the perfect roommate. I was terrified you'd kick me out. I was terrified you'd move out when you realized I was a disaster." "You're still a disaster. But I'm your disaster. The best disaster." Looking back, I'm grateful for that Craigslist ad, for taking a chance on a stranger, for being brave enough to develop feelings even when it seemed hopeless, for living in a situation where proximity turned friendship into love. They say you shouldn't mix business with pleasure, shouldn't date your roommate, shouldn't complicate living situations with romance. They're probably right in most cases. But sometimes the best things happen when you break the rules, when you take a risk. When you let yourself fall for the person you see every day, who makes you coffee in the morning and leaves his door open at night, who becomes not just where you live but who you love. Finn was never just my roommate. From the moment we met, he was my future, I just didn't know it yet. The end. To everyone living with someone they have feelings for, maybe it's time to say something. The worst thing that can happen is you'll need to find a new living situation. The best thing that can happen is you'll find your person. To everyone who's already with their roommate turned partner, cherish it. There's something special about building a life with someone in the same space where you first met. And to anyone looking for love, sometimes it's not in a bar or on an app. Sometimes it's in your own apartment making coffee in the morning, waiting for you to finally notice.